Good afternoon. Well, thank you for being here this afternoon. We're proud to have so many special guests with us for a very, very special moment in Cabell County Schools history. I'd like to take a moment to recognize some special guests in the room tonight. Mr. Bill Bissett, President and CEO of the Huntington Regional Chamber of Commerce. David Living, President and CEO of the Huntington Area Development Council, HADCO. We have Kathy Burns, the Executive Director of the Huntington Municipal Development Authority. The Honorable Nancy Cartmill, President of the Cabell County Commission. We also have Mayor Steve Williams for the City of Huntington. Thank you for being here. And we also have Mayor Tom Canterbury from the City of Milton. Mayor Tatum sends his best wishes, but he was not able to make it this evening. But we want to thank him for his support as well. I'd also like to be able to introduce our Cabell County Board of Education members, President Mary Neely, Vice President Rhonda Smalley, Gordon Ramey, Skip Parsons, Dr. Carol Garrison, and our member-elect, Alyssa Bond. I'd also like to quickly introduce some of my leadership staff that are here this afternoon. Mr. Kim Cooper, Assistant Superintendent of Operations. Kelly Watts, Assistant Superintendent of Instruction and Leadership Services. Tim Hardesty, Assistant Superintendent of Employee Relations and District Support. The guy that is really excited about today, Drew Rotgen, our Treasurer. Sharon Hornbuckle, our General Counsel. Jed Flowers, our Fearless Communications Director. Kristen Giles, Justin Boggs, and Jody Cunningham, our Executive Directors of our schools. Jason Jackson, who is our Director of Technology, who's been a very important person over the past several months for communications. We also have, I believe, Heather Scarberry, our Director of Special Education. Mr. Keith Thomas, our Director of Student Services. And I'd also like to ask very quickly for our school principals that are in the room, many of whose projects are going to be discussed here shortly, to please stand and be recognized also. And I do apologize, there was one more person I didn't get a chance to recognize. I didn't see him, but Mr. Greg Webb, our Director of Buildings and Grounds. Very important. So really the nuts and bolts behind why we're here today started back on September 26, 2019, when the school district held an Educational Futures Conference to discuss and collect feedback from the community. At that meeting, we had over 150 community members, parents, students, employees representing both teachers and service personnel as well as school administrators. And when we met with the community, we asked them what should Cabell County Schools, both facility and instruction, look like in the next 40 or 50 years. And the reason that was an important question is that in the upcoming 10-year facility plan that we were asking people to participate with their input in was really going to be able to set the stage for what schools are going to look like over the next 40 or 50 years, because I know it's surprising to hear, but our two flagship high schools, Cabell Midland High School and Huntington High School, are nearing 30 years of age very soon. And I tell people all the time that's really hard for me to believe, because I remember being in middle school and watching the walls of Cabell Midland go up and the walls of the old Ona Middle School or the old Ona Junior High come down. And it seems like it was just like that occurred. And if we think about a 30-year-old facility and we relate that to our own homes, if we were to build a home, what happens after about 30 years? Well, you're going to need a new roof, probably going to need some windows, maybe update your fixtures, perhaps remodel your kitchen. Well, the same thing occurs in some of our schools from time to time. We have to make sure that we can keep them operating at maximum capacity. So as we think about that, we also have 9 elementary schools that were built before 1975. And in the district, there are 4 elementary schools that were built prior to 1945. So after the Educational Futures Conference, we held 2 community dialogue meetings in November to discuss and collect feedback from the community regarding the future of our educational facilities and to discuss facility adequacy, our aging facilities, as well as career and technical education programming. There were also a series of CEFP, the Comprehensive Educational Facility Plan Committee stakeholder meetings. We conducted a large-scale survey where we received 72 individual comments and 1,500 responses from our community that represented every single school across Cabell County, all 26 of our facilities. Based upon that input from the survey, the CEFP Steering Committee made recommendations to me, which I in turn made recommendations to the Board of Education for approval of how we were going to prioritize all of our facility needs over the next 10 years. And I was happy to say that the Cabell County Board of Education approved those recommendations unanimously. Some of the major themes, however, from those building projects and how we were going to prioritize those projects are really what guided the creation of the 2020 bond proposal, which we're going to discuss shortly. But there were 4 major themes that I want to emphasize. The first, no consolidations. 2, we need to address our outdated facilities. 3, we need to make sure that we are addressing any school that does not have a safe school entrance. And finally, we need to make sure that we're prioritizing career and technical program modernization and expansion. So that leads us to where we are today. Today, I am recommending on the board agenda scheduled here shortly for a special election on August 22nd, 2020. This would mean that early voting would begin on Saturday, August 8th, 2020. And this would be a bond replacement of the 2006 bond which the Cabell County voters approved. This 2006 bond, which is getting ready to sunset and expire, was responsible for the construction of Milton Middle School, Barbersville Middle School, Huntington Middle School, Southside Elementary, and in cooperation with the School Building Authority, Martha Elementary School. It's also extremely important to point out that that 2006 bond, while it did not encapsulate everything that needed to be done in the district, it did address those major projects. But that bond, because it was approved, also paved the way for us to do other facilities in Cabell County, including, through collaboration with the School Building Authority, a new Huntington East Middle School. The district was then able to renovate the old Beverly Hills Middle School for a new Explorer Academy. The county then renovated the former Cox Landing Middle School site complex to serve as a centrally located, state-of-the-art transportation complex, among the best in the state, I might add. Renovated and added on to Culloden Elementary. And then over the past 3 years, we've been able to construct safe school entrances at Altizer, Spring Hill, Height Saunders, Meadows, and Crossroads Academy, our alternative school. In addition, it paved the way for us through working collaboratively with funding from the School Building Authority to build a brand new Highlawn Elementary School, which is over here on 3rd Avenue and is slated to open up this fall. And if you haven't seen it, I promise you it is a beautiful, beautiful facility, and we are excited to welcome students back in the fall. So because that bond is expiring, what we're asking the voters to do is to not vote on a new bond, but to only continue an existing tax to be able to fund the new facilities that we have coming up. And so at this time, I'm excited to be able to announce those projects. The first project will be a new Meadows Elementary School that will be either located at the current site or moved to another site within the district or to a location down Route 10 close to Huntington High School. The second option, or the second project, is a new Davis Creek Elementary School to be built on a different site than where the current school sits, but within close proximity to the village of Barbersville at several different sites, either along Route 60 or at the Barbersville Brickyard site, which is within the city limits of the village of Barbersville. In this project, we would expect that we would rezone the village of Barbersville area to accommodate about 100 students that would go to the new Davis Creek Elementary School. The third project would be a brand new Milton Elementary School to be built at the current site or to be relocated to the site that the school district already owns where the old Milton Middle School used to sit. That site has additional opportunities, especially if and when it's more of when, the new Milton flood wall comes to fruition within the city of Milton. As you can see, just with those three projects, it's very important to note that we are addressing an elementary school need on the east end of the county, in the middle of the county, and then also on the west end of the county. We are also excited to be able to have an opportunity to renovate Nichols Elementary by adding a safe school entrance, adding a new roof, doors, windows to that facility, as well as a sprinkler system. So, the other school that would be slated for renovation is Height Saunders Elementary by adding windows, doors, roof, HVAC, as well as a possible sprinkler system. In addition to those two renovations, which again, east end of the county and west end of the county for a new renovation of an elementary school, we would also add high school renovations to include, but not limited to, safe school entrances. So again, our two high schools, it's very important that we add safe school entrances to those facilities. And if you're not familiar with what a safe school entrance is, particularly, what it does is it requires anybody that is a guest to the building, they don't have full access to the building without passing an area where an adult has to actually allow them further access into the building. And so these are very important projects as we think about the safety and security of our students and our employees. The final project is really one of my personal favorites. It is, and the reason is because I was a career and technical education teacher. That's my background, and I truly see the value of what career and technical education does for our students and for our community. But it is to renovate and expand our current career and technical education program, as well as expanded opportunities for student internships, and to allow incubator opportunities for students within simulated workplace environments. Within this project, we have two major options that we could consider. The first is to renovate the current facility and try to add on to it. The unique thing about where the current facility is while it sits on approximately 40-some acres, I classify those as 40-some West Virginia acres. Because a lot of it is hillside, and the actual area that we can build on is very limited at the top. But it is a possibility. The other option is to relocate the existing career and technical education programs to the Huntington Mall, to the existing Sears building. This existing Sears building is approximately 180,000 square feet, which more than doubles the footprint of what we have in our current career and technical education programs. In addition, many of the student internships that would be available in the proximity of the Huntington Mall would be able to be much more readily accessible. And it would provide us an opportunity to not only expand opportunities with new programs for our current secondary students, but also to expand programs for our adult students in the community as well. And one of the things I think is very important is that as we move into the future, that we are putting career and technical education opportunities and certification programs front and center and make sure that they are easily accessible for our students as well as the adults in our community. And by locating this facility where the hub of our community a lot of times visits, I think is an important step, and it's a step in the right direction. The ability for us to be able to have state-of-the-art programs and to have exposure to the community, I think, is second to none. And we look forward to, if the bond was to pass and this becomes the option that most people feel is the best option, working with the mall management, as well as the local businesses around to expand these opportunities for our students. All told, these projects equal $107 million, $107.2 million. However, through the bond proposal, what we are asking for the voters to approve is an $87.5 million bond, which, coupled with $10 million from the school district and $10 million from the school building authority, equals that $107 million investment. According to a research study done by the West Virginia Contractors Association, for every dollar invested into school construction equals a $3 investment into the local economy. So with that being said, we're looking at a $321 million economic benefit as a result of passage of the school district bond. It's also very important to note that because this would be a public improvement project over $500,000, that we are required by the state of West Virginia to employ what they call the West Virginia Jobs Act. That requires 75% of our workers to be from the local job market. In addition, this request, when compared to other counties across West Virginia that have had similar bonds passed, is very similar to those investments that those voters approved for their facilities in other school districts in West Virginia. The last bond that is getting ready to expire from the 2006 bond was sold at just under 5%, and at today's market value of 2.5%, an individual that owns a $100,000 home would be looking at a tax of $6.29 per month, or $75.48 for the year on that $100,000 home. However, because we know that we have many community members that have the homestead exemption on their properties, if that $100,000 property had a homestead exemption, they would be looking at $4.19 or $50.32 each year in order to get all of these amazing projects accomplished. At the highest rate possible, at 5%, which is similar to what was passed in 2006, that $100,000 home would be looking at a $7.50 per month tax, or an average of $90 per year. And this was very similar to what was advertised during 2006. So I want to reiterate that one of the benefits of asking voters to look at this bond at this time is to take full advantage of the low interest rates on the market right now so that we can get the best bang for our dollar and really be able to modernize as many schools as possible and to put career and technical education front and center in our community. At this time, I would like to invite several of our special guests up to say a few words. First, I'd like to ask Mr. Bill Bissett with the Huntington Regional Chamber of Commerce to come up and say a few words.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Sachs. My name is Bill Bissett. I'm the President and CEO of the Huntington Regional Chamber. I want to begin by recognizing Tony Stroud, who's in the front row here. He's the chair of our board and also an attorney with Encova. What we're talking about today is opportunity. We're talking about a special time that comes in difficult times. We all know what we're dealing with. I can look out here and see masks. We all know what's going on. But what we consider the investment we're talking about, what this does for Cabell County. We all want better schools. I don't know who wouldn't. That should be just something that we all have in our DNA. But when you consider that this does not create a new expense for us, it's a continuation of the previous bond, which my chamber supported in 2006, far before my time, but unanimously, Commissioner, you serve on my board too, you know this, we voted unanimously to support it again because it's the right thing. It's the right thing for Cabell County. It's going to help Kathy Burns and Dave Living attract businesses here. Because when we talk to new businesses, people outside these borders, we get asked, tell me about your schools. It's a very common question. This makes us more attractive, not just to new business, but also to those people who don't know much about Cabell County, don't know much about West Virginia, haven't met these wonderful mayors, but they understand that new schools, that the investment is here at $107 million in the future. The other thing is a shot in the arm for our economy, the jobs, the revenue, the infrastructure. We need that right now. I think we look to Cabell County Schools, we look to Marshall University as leaders. We look at our regional healthcare system to power our economy at a time when we need it. Our chamber will be working diligently for that early voting, for that election day, to push us across the finish line. I want to recognize Ryan Sachs. This is a bold move. Now is the time for bold moves. I also need to admit something, and Amy Mader knows this. I have 2 little girls that go to Meadows Elementary, and I'm very excited for them to attend that new elementary. And with their wonderful principal, Amy, we appreciate you so much. Thank you. I'll be available for questions later. And Ryan, all the best, sir. Wish you the best. We'll be right behind you.
Thank you, Mr. Bissett. At this time, I would like to ask for Mr. David Living, President and CEO of the Huntington Area Development Council, if he would like to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Superintendent Sachs. I appreciate the opportunity. Strong schools is really the foundation for economic development. I just, basically reiterate what Bill already said. But in the work that we're doing, business attraction is very important. Keeping the businesses that we have and helping them grow and expand here is also very important too. So that's something that we need to recognize. The other piece of this is we need to start attracting more people to our county, more people to live in Cabell County, pay taxes in Cabell County, and invest in Cabell County. So strong school systems help us to do that as well. And I think, together we can make this work. One of the things that I'm most interested in, obviously the investment is tremendous in our high schools, our elementary schools, but our career and technical education program has more students now trying to get into the programs there than we have room for. So this bond would allow us to expand those programs and make more seats available for the demand that we're experiencing right now. And this is critical for us in what Kathy and I are doing, and Bill, in the business community. We need people that can fill the jobs that are available out here. Plus, we need to modernize our programs in order to meet the demands of the future that's coming. So that there's a cost involved with that. It's an investment in our future and one that's extremely important. So thank you, Superintendent.
At this time, I would like to ask if President of the Cabell County Commission, Nancy Cartman, would you like to say any words? Okay. I look forward to presenting to the commission, though. Sure, sounds great. Thank you. At this time, I wanted to see if Mr. Tom Canterbury, Mayor of Milton, would like to say a few words.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me out here this evening. With all we have going on in our city of Milton, the Grand Patrician Resort, the Venetian up there is going on. We've got a lot going on up there, and a flood wall will be built. Ryan?
I remain optimistic.
Okay. No, it will happen, I'm sure. But I believe education it's the key. It's where it all gets started in elementary school. First of all, it starts at home, but second of all is the elementary school. So this just puts the icing on the cake for the city of Milton. It really does. So what'd you say, 22 million, 23 million, whatever it was. It'll be great for the city up there. And I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much for our honored guests. At this time, I would like to invite any of the Board of Education members, starting with the president, if they'd like to say any words regarding the proposal at this time. So, Mrs. Neely?
What I would like to say, I don't think this is on. Okay. Yeah, what I would like to say is what everybody else has really said. They've all kind of said everything in a nutshell. Education is so very important, and we want to keep our children here in this area, and we want them to get the best education possible. And in order to do that, we need to improve our schools, the structure, and everything that everybody has said is what I would have come out and said to you if I was standing out there speaking in front. We need to get our schools up to date. We need to be proactive in our education in order this community is such a beautiful little community anyway. And so we want to keep our schools up to date, good schools, we've got wonderful teachers, wonderful administrators. I can't say enough. I can't really say enough about our superintendent. We are so happy to have Mr. Sachs as superintendent. He has done a fantastic job leading us in our goal to improve our schools. So having said that, I want everybody to go out there and just, push for this levy, because the tax base, as Mr. Sachs has indicated, the superintendent has indicated, it's not that much more a year. It's not going to hurt the taxpayers hardly at all. And I think, having said that shouldn't be a problem at all. I think that I do think people have always supported the school system, and I think that this bond levy will go through also, and hopefully it will. Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Anyone else on the board would like to say something? Mrs. Smalley?
First of all, on behalf of the board, I would like to thank all of you for being here tonight and helping us in the initial steps of providing a world-class education for the students of Cabell County Schools. We are so excited, and we so appreciate all of you being here and willing to speak up early on to help us get this train rolling forward. The whole goal of all of this is to provide for the students of Cabell County Schools to be able to train and prepare for their futures. We want them to come back here. We want them to maintain their homes and their livelihoods and their children's futures in this school system. This move, this bond, can only provide the wonderful progress that this county so needs and deserves at this point in time. With the economy as it is, this project can provide jobs, economic boost to our communities, provide opportunities, and entice folks to look at Cabell County Schools and say, I'd like to move there. I want my family to be there. I want to raise my children in a school system that appreciates their employees, works with their community, and values life in Cabell County. So again, I want to thank all of you for being here. I hope you will go out and work for this most worthwhile project. I think it will be a milestone for the state of West Virginia. I think we can set the pace, and we can show the rest of this state what Cabell County is all about. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Smalley. Mr. Parsons?
I will say we cannot live in the past. We must go forward to the future. Technology is moving so fast that if we do not have this bond, our children will be left by the wayside. We cannot have that in Cabell County. Cabell is a good county. Our school system is good. Our administrators are good. Everything we have depends on our bond, and we must pass it for the betterment of our children.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons.
You're welcome.
Mr. Ramey?
Just a quick note, it's gonna be an exciting time, and I hate I'm gonna miss this, because this is my second to last meeting. I got married, and I'm moving to Wayne County, so I couldn't run again, and I'm really gonna hate that I'm not gonna be here, but I'll be on the sidelines watching and cheering and supporting, and I think the best decision this board in the last 4 years I've served on was hire this man right here. So.
Exactly. Dr. Garrison, would you like to come to the front and speak, or would you like to? No, thank you. Okay. Don't want to exclude you. Okay. All right.
Well, thank you very much for all of our special guests and our board member comments. It is really, from the bottom of my heart, truly a blessing to be able to be superintendent at this time in our district's history. And it's because of our students, and it's because of people like you that make this possible. So thank you. At this time, I want to welcome questions from the media. If you have any questions related to the bond proposal that I can perhaps answer at this time. And if you don't have any questions, that's totally okay too. All right. Well, with that being said, as we close, it's really important to me to show my appreciation for the entire community, the Cabell County community, our steering committee members for the Comprehensive Educational Facilities Plan that set all of this in motion to get us to where we are today, our community partners, the news media for the work in being able to share our information, and the entire district that is helping prepare for the election at our courthouse. So we want to thank those people as well. At this time, that concludes our news conference, and we will be transitioning to our regularly scheduled board meeting where here shortly the board will be voting on possibly approving the bond proposal that was just set forth. Thank you very much.
This is a very exciting day to hear what the Cabell County Board of Education is planning with this school bond issue. This is something that's critically important for our future. Not be looking in the past, but again, looking to our future, because our school system is the first thing that people look at when they're looking to invest in the community. It's the first thing that is determining our future for our children, certainly. We all need to be behind this. And the beauty of this is forward thinking, this is bold, and this is exactly what we need to be doing so that we might be able to lead Huntington, lead Cabell County, and lead the state of West Virginia beyond where we could ever imagine to be.